Hi, Mrs. Leo. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the current projects you are involved in?
Sure. My Lieu. I am a Torrance Unified School Board member. I am also a California Commissioner on Special Education, and I'm also the wife of Congressman Ted Lieu. I am also an attorney. Right now, I'm a part-time attorney doing civil litigation work, but I used to be a full-time prosecutor dealing only with felonies as a deputy attorney general. More background about myself. I'm heavily involved with community organizations. Because my husband is in DC more than half the week, I go over there a lot to help him in the things that he has to do. But back home here, I have two wonderful sons.
Well, what inspired you to pursue a legal career in the first place, and how did you shift that career to what are you doing now?
Mm, there were so many reasons why I went to law school. I truly believe, and I think it's a fact, it's actually not just me believing it. Law is in every sector in the world. It is in everything you touch in this world, in the society. Obviously, there's a lot of law dealing in government and also in businesses. You have to deal with contracts or, big corporations. That's all contracts and mergers and acquisitions. Um, Even in nonprofit organizations that you might volunteer in, they also have to deal with law. So I believe that law is a very good background for someone to go into anything at all if they don't want to be a lawyer themselves. And I did notice since young that a lot of the heads of the corporations have a JD, a Juris Doctorate degree in their background, but they have never practiced law. But
Mm.
it's just really great to have that in a background. And for example, with since I'm around elected officials a lot, I've seen some legislators who proposed uh, a bill, like an idea for something that is just absolutely unconstitutional. And,
Mm.
on its face, it might not seem like it's unconstitutional, but it makes a lot of sense. But there are just things that the law and the Constitution won't allow us to do. So that's one reason as to why I went to law for that background for me to do whatever I want to do, which actually I was planning on being an attorney. There's no one reason for me to do anything ever.
Yeah.
There's multiple reasons. And
Okay.
then also you take the LSAT to go to law school after college. And I did really well on it, enough to get me a scholarship. So I'm like, I'll go there and
Okay.
not get married for a while and see, what things are like here. Yeah. And I'm so glad because that's when I was in law school was um, when I met my husband. So
Regarding your path towards being a lawyer and a prosecutor, also your role in politics, were there any particular obstacles you faced, and how did you overcome it?
you mean as an Asian American?
Or yeah, as an Asian
Yeah.
American. Like
Um,
either both, like the issues you face as an Asian American, also in general.
mm, um, One thing that I've said many times before is when I first started out in law, after I graduated from law school, I was very lucky to be able to go straight into a legal job because I had it preset already. I got accepted before I graduated and work in this pretty big law firm at the main office, which is in Los Angeles, in downtown LA. And in this main office, there were about 30 partners, and partners are usually the ones who are like the bosses of the law firm. And then if you're just coming in, you're an associate. You probably know this, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying it
yeah.
just in case. But they were almost all, actually not almost all. I mean, of like 30 or so partners, 29 were older white men. There was literally one female attorney who is a partner, which, by the way, she's now a judge, or she's been a judge for a couple of decades now. She's an amazing lady. Um, and I notice not just outside when I go out for depositions or court appearances, even within the firm, this is, I guess, back in the 90s, late 90s, in the last century, um, I had pretty much three major discrimination against me. I was discriminated, one, because I was a woman, and this is a very male-dominated profession, at least back then. Should I go back home and, like, make food and have babies or something? That's seriously what this very conservative, well-known conservative law firm thought. And another one is because I am a person of color. I'm an Asian American. And to them, it's like Asian Americans can't be good lawyers because we can, we can barely speak English, and we're lucky that we can be fluent in English. Um, this particular set of lawyers that I was involved with, associated with, it just so happened that they're really extremely conservative. And back then, I wasn't as aware of how extreme things could be in their values. And then a third discrimination, which is very true for almost all new attorneys, is that I was young.
Mm.
So they're always like, "Oh, you don't know what you're doing because, well, you're a female, you're Asian, and you're young." I accept that being young is definitely a good reason um, to support their belief that I wouldn't know anything. I don't have as much experience as a first year, but I felt like those three things were really working against me for quite a while. And I guess as Asian Americans, I also look younger, at that age. And so they thought, hey, I mean, that's just little jokes here and there. You look like you belong in high school, and is what my partners would say to me. So um, those are some of the obstacles I came across.
Mm.
And then later on in life, after I got married and after I gave birth to my wonderful children, uh, I wouldn't say it's like a blessing more than an obstacle. I had a total different life where the only thing that mattered were was my children. And so um, timing was problematic. I could not work full time. And because for lawyers, full times mean
Yeah.
more than 8 hours a day by far, and be able to be very involved with their upbringing. So um, I had to cut back, and then so my legal career slowed down quite a bit. And nowadays, when I do the lawyering, I do very non-committal assignments. That still, you know, pays, so that's good. But otherwise, I think I know a lot of women out there who are able to do both. Just for myself, it didn't work out that way.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
part-time instead.
In your opinion, why do you think it's particularly important for young Asian American students to actively shape their communities?
Well, I think it's important for all Americans to actively shape their communities, and particularly for Asian Americans. We are not represented enough proportion. We're very, the numbers are very disproportionate. There are a lot less Asian Americans in government that directly supposed to represent us. There's a lot less um, Asian Americans in the C-suite, for example, being the CEOs of large companies. There are a lot less Asian Americans in entertainment, in policing. It's just many, many, many issues. The only thing that is maybe we're overrepresented in is medicine,
Yeah.
and engineering, right? So for most of us who are not of those particular fields, we need to show the general Americans, the mainstream, everybody else, that we can be something other than doctors and accountants and engineers. Um, So it is very important that we get ourselves out there. We're all busy. Everyone's busy. I don't know a single person who's not busy, but during whatever time that we can squeeze out, instead of just say sitting around doing nothing, being a couch potato, or just hanging out at the house, go out if you can, to get involved with more Asian American organizations or even non-Asian American organizations so that there's more of us out there. We can that people can see we are definitely very much Americans and it's part of this American society. And Asian American specifically, for me as a Gen X person, a lot of times we're stuck in between the first and second generation. There are different things that issues that we deal with. And so in summing up, I think it's just we as a minority in this country needs to come out and show ourselves more. Don't be afraid to come and show out that we are Americans and we're very much a part of this society.
What advice would you give to young Asian American students who would want to pursue a career path in law and public service?
Ah, great question. As I had said earlier, there are a lot of great reasons to go into law, and one of the reasons is being public service. If they want to be an elected official in the future, what they should start doing now is to get involved with campaigns, volunteer and help. You know, right now you can help with the presidential campaign or the local Senate campaign, or even really down to your local city and school board campaigns and help them out. And so you know what you're going to have to go through to be an elected official. There are a lot of great people out there who would have been fantastic legislators or other government positions, but they don't want to deal with the campaigning, and campaigning is real. They really have to deal with that. So it's good to do that. Of course, you know, if you can get an internship with somebody elected, it's great to be right there in the office and you can see what they actually do all day, what staff do and what the elected person will do. So, and of course, if you have a Juris Doctorate degree, being having have that law background really helps you a lot too, in not just public service and being in politics, but in everything that you might want to do.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You take
Bye.
care.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.